Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people turn every setback into a comeback while others stay stuck in the same cycle of frustration? The difference isn't luck, it's habits. Not just what they do, but how they think before they do it, because your life will always move in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. If your mindset is filled with scarcity, fear, and doubt, your results will reflect exactly that. But if you build habits that rewire your thinking for faith, growth, and discipline, your life will start to change in ways you can't even imagine right now. Every word that comes out of your mouth has creative power. The moment you speak, you're not just describing your life, you're designing it. Most people don't realize how much authority their words carry. They think talking is harmless, but what you say repeatedly becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes what you live. When you say, I'm tired, your body agrees. When you say, I can't, your mind stops looking for solutions. But when you start speaking life, speaking victory, speaking abundance, everything around you starts to shift in alignment with that declaration. Words are seeds and your life is the harvest. Think about it. Every major change in your life started with words. You either said, I'm done living this way, or I'm going to do something different. Those sentences didn't just express a thought. They gave birth to a new direction. The same way an architect creates a blueprint before the building ever exists, your words are the blueprint for your future. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. You can't talk fear and expect faith. The tongue is small, but it's steering your entire destiny like a rudder steers a ship. If your ship keeps crashing into the same rocks, it might not be the storm, it might be the words you're steering with. When you speak life, you are commanding your circumstances to align with your vision instead of your fears. You are training your subconscious to focus on possibilities rather than problems. The human mind is wired to obey the loudest voice it hears most often. And for most people, that voice is their own. If your self-talk is negative, your results will follow suit. But if your self-talk is empowering, your environment will eventually mirror it. You can literally reprogram your mindset by shifting your vocabulary. Every time you declare something positive, you weaken the grip of old limiting beliefs. Let's make it practical. When you wake up in the morning, before you touch your phone, before you check your messages, open your mouth and declare what kind of day it's going to be. Say, today I'm operating in excellence. Today I'm focused, productive, and favored. Don't wait for motivation to find you. Create it with your words. If you say, I'm overwhelmed, your brain will start searching for evidence that supports that statement. But if you say, I'm capable of handling what's in front of me, your brain begins finding solutions and energy to match that belief. You're literally setting the emotional tone for your day before it even begins. You see, the problem is that too many people use their words to describe their situation instead of using their words to change it. They say, I'm broke. Instead of I'm learning to multiply money, they say, I'm lonely. Instead of I'm attracting healthy relationships. They speak what they see instead of what they want to see. But visionaries, leaders, achievers, they all do the opposite. They don't let circumstances dictate their confession. They use confession to dictate their circumstances. That's why when everything around them looks uncertain, they still talk with confidence because they know words are the thermostat of life. They don't just reflect the temperature, they set it. When you begin to speak life, don't expect instant change. Seeds take time to grow. You don't plant a seed in the morning and expect fruit by night. But if you water that seed daily with consistent positive declarations, the roots start forming even before you can see the results. Keep watering. Keep speaking. Because the moment you stop, the soil of your mind starts drying up again and the weeds of negativity try to take over. That's why it's called speaking life. It's not a one-time event. It's a daily decision. And understand, speaking life is not denial. It doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. It means acknowledging the problem, but choosing to magnify the solution. You can say, this situation is tough, but I'm tougher. You can say, I'm facing challenges, but I'm fully equipped to overcome them. That's not lying, that's leadership. You're telling your emotions who's in charge. You're teaching your mind to follow your spirit instead of your fears. Some people might think you're crazy for talking like that. They'll say you're being unrealistic. But what's truly unrealistic is expecting success while constantly speaking defeat. You can't plant negativity and harvest joy. You can't curse your future and expect it to bless you. Every time you open your mouth, you're either giving life to your purpose or giving permission to your problems. That's why the wisest people in the world guard their words carefully. They understand that every sentence is a seed of creation. If you want to start speaking life effectively, start by catching yourself mid-sentence. When you hear yourself say something limiting, stop and correct it. Replace, I never get any breaks with opportunities are finding me. Replace, I'm so unlucky with I'm positioned for favor. It will feel awkward at first, but that's because your old programming is fighting for survival. Keep going until new language becomes natural. Before long, your entire inner dialogue will transform. And when your inner dialogue changes, Your outer world has no choice but to follow. The moment you begin speaking life daily, your energy changes. Your decisions change. You start attracting people who think at a higher level because positive words produce positive vibration. And that vibration becomes a magnet for growth, wealth, and peace. Life responds to language. If you want a better life, start speaking a better language. Focus is the currency of success. What you give your attention to multiplies, and what you ignore withers away. Every person on this planet has the same 24 hours. But what separates the accomplished from the average isn't time, it's attention. Most people waste their focus on things that have nothing to do with where they're going. They scroll endlessly, react emotionally, chase distractions, and then wonder why their dreams feel distant. You can't master your destiny if your attention is rented out to everything and everyone around you. Protecting your focus is like protecting your life, because in a very real sense, your focus is your life. Whatever you consistently give attention to becomes your reality. The modern world is designed to steal your focus. Every beep, every notification, every trending post is an invitation to waste another moment. You open your phone to check one message and an hour disappears. That's not harmless, that's costly. Every moment you spend distracted is a moment you could have used to move closer to your purpose. The world is noisy, and if you don't intentionally choose silence, you'll drown in sound. Protecting your focus means learning to say no, not just to people, but to patterns. It means drawing a line between what's urgent and what's important, between what demands your time and what deserves it. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. A magnifying glass can't burn paper unless it stays still long enough for light to concentrate. The same principle applies to life. If you keep shifting from one thing to another, you dilute your potential. Most people are busy but not productive. They're moving fast but not forward. Real focus means being clear about your purpose and aligning every action with that purpose. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. Every time you focus on the wrong thing, you delay the right thing from manifesting. Protecting your focus starts with clarity. You can't guard what you haven't defined. You have to know what your priorities are. Write them down, visualize them, review them daily. Ask yourself, does this move me closer to my vision or pull me further away? If it doesn't align with your mission, it's a distraction, no matter how entertaining or urgent it feels. People often mistake movement for progress, but progress only happens when your motion has meaning. Every great achiever, every innovator, every visionary, at some point they had to master the art of saying no. No to comfort, no to clutter. No to conversations that drain energy instead of adding value. Focus is not found, it's forged. You can't build mental focus in chaos. That's why you need to create an environment that supports your discipline. Your surroundings should remind you of your goals, not distract you from them. Clean workspace, clear schedule, clear mind. Remove digital clutter. Turn off notifications that don't serve your mission. Schedule your thinking time. Treat your attention like the most valuable asset you own, because it is. Every moment you protect your focus, you're buying back your freedom. Every time you let distraction win, you're giving away your destiny one click at a time. Focus also requires energy management. You can't expect mental sharpness if your physical and emotional energy are depleted. Sleep, nutrition, and movement aren't luxuries. They're necessities for sustained focus. A tired mind is easily distracted. You must build rituals that recharge you instead of drain you. Meditation, journaling, prayer, quiet reflection, whatever centers your spirit and clears your thoughts, make it non-negotiable. Focus is not just mental, it's spiritual alignment. When your spirit is anchored, your attention stops wandering. Another part of protecting your focus is people. The wrong company can destroy your direction faster than any distraction on a screen. Be around those who respect your goals, not those who ridicule them. Surround yourself with builders, not breakers. Every conversation is a seed planted in your mind, so be careful who gets to speak into your soil. If someone constantly brings gossip, negativity, or chaos, that's a focus leak. You can't afford to give your energy to people who have no investment in your vision. Love them, but limit access. Your environment should make it easier to win, not harder. When you protect your focus, you'll notice something powerful. You start to feel peace. The noise fades and clarity takes its place. You begin to see patterns others miss, solutions that seemed hidden before. Focus creates insight. The more you train your mind to stay still, the more your creativity flourishes. Distraction divides energy, and divided energy produces weak results. Concentration compounds effort, and compounded effort produces mastery. That's why you don't need to do 100 things to change your life. You just need to do the right few things consistently without losing sight of your mission. Sometimes protecting your focus means disconnecting completely. Take time away from screens. Let silence become your sanctuary. The world moves fast, but wisdom is found in stillness. You don't have to chase every trend or respond to every comment. You don't owe everyone your attention. The moment you realize that, you take back control. Focus is freedom, the freedom to choose where your energy flows. When your mind learns to ignore the noise, your results start to speak so loudly that you no longer have to. Gratitude is not a reaction, it's a mindset, a conscious way of seeing the world that rewires your thinking and reshapes your reality. Most people treat gratitude like a response, something they feel only when life gives them what they want. But real gratitude is proactive. It's deciding to be thankful before the blessing shows up, not after it arrives. It's the discipline of finding light even when everything around you feels dark. Gratitude is the lens that sharpens your focus on abundance instead of lack, on progress instead of problems. When you train your mind to look for what's right, you stop being consumed by what's wrong. Every day offers 1,000 small reasons to be grateful, but most people walk past them without noticing because they're too busy chasing what's next. They keep telling themselves they'll be grateful when they make more money, when they buy the car, when they meet the right person. But that kind of thinking delays peace. Gratitude doesn't wait for perfect conditions, it creates them. When you start saying, I'm thankful for what I have right now, your heart begins to attract more things that reflect that energy. You magnetize abundance when you honor the blessings already in your hands. The truth is, gratitude doesn't just change your mood, it changes your mindset, your body language, your relationships, and your outcomes. When you operate from a grateful heart, you become more aware, more patient, more optimistic. You stop moving from a place of fear and start moving from a place of faith. Gratitude shifts your emotional frequency from frustration to fulfillment. It doesn't erase problems, but it gives you the strength and clarity to face them differently. You start to see challenges as lessons, not losses. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow. Gratitude turns setbacks into stepping stones because it focuses your attention on what can be learned, not what has been lost. Practicing gratitude intentionally means you don't wait for good things to happen to feel thankful. You create the feeling through daily practice. Wake up in the morning and find 3 things to appreciate before you even check your phone. The fact that you can breathe without effort, that your heart beats without you commanding it, that you have another chance to grow, that's already a miracle. Most people are so used to the extraordinary that they've stopped noticing it. Gratitude reawakens that awareness. It reminds you that life itself is a gift. It's easy to be thankful when everything's working. The real test is when it's not. Gratitude in the middle of struggle is what transforms pain into purpose. It's what allows you to smile when nothing seems funny, to move forward when it feels like everything's standing still. When you can say, I'm grateful even now, you've reached a level of power that circumstances can't control. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally, because gratitude is a declaration that no matter what happens around me, what's happening within me is still strong, still peaceful, still anchored. People often underestimate how much gratitude impacts performance. When you're thankful, your mind releases stress, your body produces calm, and your energy flows more naturally. You become more creative, more patient, more focused. You start to notice opportunities you used to overlook because your perspective shifts from scarcity to sufficiency. Gratitude doesn't mean you stop wanting more. It means you stop resenting where you are while you work toward where you're going. You can desire growth and still celebrate grace. That balance is what keeps ambition healthy. To practice gratitude intentionally, you must also express it. Don't just think it, speak it, write it, share it. Tell the people who've helped you that you appreciate them. Thank yourself for how far you've come, for surviving what was meant to break you. Gratitude unspoken is power withheld. The more you express it, the stronger it grows. And the more it grows, the more it shapes your identity into one of peace, humility, and strength. Gratitude makes you magnetic because people are drawn to energy that uplifts them. When you carry thankfulness in your spirit, it shows up in your tone, in your posture, in your presence. There's also a deep spiritual layer to gratitude. When you give thanks for what you have, you acknowledge that you're not the only force at work in your life. You recognize divine alignment, unseen protection, and invisible provision. Gratitude opens the door for more because it shows that you can handle what's already been given. It's like telling the universe or God or life itself, I'm ready for more because I'm responsible with what I've got. That's why ungratefulness keeps people stuck. When you complain about small things, you repel the big ones. When you honor small things, you attract the next level. Practicing gratitude doesn't require hours of meditation or fancy rituals. It's in the pause before complaining, the breath before reacting, the moment you choose to see the blessing inside the burden. It's rewriting the internal script from why me to what is this teaching me. Gratitude gives you authority over your emotions because it keeps you rooted in what's stable instead of what's temporary. It trains your mind to focus on progress instead of pain, on purpose instead of pity. Every day you have a choice to feed frustration or to feed gratitude. One will drain you, the other will develop you. Gratitude doesn't eliminate struggle, but it transforms how you walk through it. When you practice intentionally, you're not just feeling thankful. You're rewiring your brain, recalibrating your spirit, and preparing your life to receive more of what you've already learned to appreciate. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your destiny. It's the invisible force that turns intention into action and potential into progress. Everyone wants success, but very few are willing to practice the daily disciplines that make it inevitable. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about purpose. It's the decision to do what's necessary, not what's convenient. The difference between people who wish and people who win is not talent or opportunity, it's consistency. Discipline is the art of mastering yourself before trying to master your environment. Most people wait to feel motivated before they move, but that's backward. Motivation is the spark, discipline is the engine. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going when excitement fades. You'll never rise to the level of your goals. You'll always fall to the level of your habits. If your habits are weak, your results will be unstable. But if your habits are strong, success becomes predictable. Discipline means showing up when you don't feel like it, doing it right when no one is watching, and committing to excellence even when it's inconvenient. Discipline is built through decisions, not feelings. Every time you choose structure over chaos, focus over distraction, and purpose over pleasure, you're strengthening your mental muscles. Just like your body grows through resistance, your character grows through discipline. You don't get stronger by lifting light weights, and you don't get wiser by taking easy paths. Every act of discipline is a declaration that your future matters more than your momentary comfort. It's easy to stay in bed, to procrastinate, to scroll and dream. But the disciplined person stands up and executes, because discipline isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing what matters consistently. One of the biggest misconceptions about discipline is that it kills freedom. In truth, it's the foundation of freedom. When you're disciplined with your time, your money, your energy, and your habits, you create structure, and structure gives you space to live intentionally. The undisciplined life is chaotic because it's reactive. It depends on external circumstances to feel and control. But the disciplined life is proactive. It moves with direction. You're no longer controlled by impulses. You're guided by principles. Discipline makes your emotions serve your mission instead of sabotaging it. Discipline is also about trust. When you keep promises to yourself, you build internal confidence. Every small commitment you honor strengthens your belief that you can rely on yourself. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they've broken too many promises to themselves. Every time you say you'll do something, and don't, you weaken your integrity. But every time you follow through, you reinforce your identity as someone who gets things done. That's how discipline turns into dignity. You start walking differently, thinking differently, and attracting differently because you've learned to depend on your own word. Discipline thrives on clarity. You can't be disciplined if you're not clear about what you're working toward. Define your priorities so you can defend them. When your purpose is blurry, distractions look appealing. But when your purpose is clear, distractions look costly. Discipline helps you recognize what deserves your attention, what doesn't. It gives you the power to say no, not because you're missing out, but because you're locked in. Every no to distraction is a louder yes to your destiny. There will always be resistance. Discipline doesn't eliminate struggle. It equips you to face it. You'll have days when quitting feels easier, when excuses feel justified, when comfort whispers louder than commitment. That's when discipline steps in as the voice of reason. It reminds you why you started. It reminds you that short-term pain produces long-term strength. It reminds you that every sacrifice is a seed and that nothing great grows without consistent care. When you stay disciplined long enough, what once felt like effort becomes instinct. The workout you dreaded becomes part of your rhythm. The focus that felt forced becomes natural. Discipline rewires your identity from I try to I am. Another truth about discipline is that it compounds. Small actions done consistently over time create massive transformation. Reading 10 pages a day turns into wisdom. Saving a little money regularly turns into wealth. Practicing your skill daily turns into mastery. The results may be invisible at first, but momentum builds silently. Discipline is the compound interest of self-improvement. The longer you sustain it, the more unstoppable you become. That's why the hardest part of discipline is the beginning, the point where you're not yet seeing results. But if you push past that phase, the process starts working for you instead of against you. Discipline also requires emotional maturity. You can't let every mood dictate your moves. Feelings are real, but they're not always reliable. You can feel tired and still be capable. You can feel scared and still take action. Discipline means learning to act based on decisions, not emotions. The disciplined person still feels fear, doubt, and fatigue, but they've learned that those feelings are signals to push, not stop. They understand that temporary discomfort produces permanent growth. Discipline doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you don't surrender to the struggle. When you live with discipline, people around you start to notice. They might call you obsessive, strict, or too focused, but what they're really seeing is a level of commitment that makes them uncomfortable with their own excuses. Discipline exposes mediocrity because it refuses to compromise. It separates those who dream from those who do. When others see your consistency, they start realizing what's possible for them too. Discipline doesn't just change your results, it changes your influence. You become a living example of what's possible when someone decides that purpose is greater than pleasure. Learning is the lifeline of growth. The moment you stop learning, you stop learning, you stop evolving, and you start declining. Every level of success demands a new level of understanding, and if your mind stays stuck in what it already knows, your results will stay stuck where they already are. Life doesn't reward what you know once. It rewards what you keep learning and applying. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but you must always be the most teachable. The ability to stay curious, humble, and hungry separates the average from the exceptional. Learning is not just about collecting information, it's about transformation. Some people keep reading, watching, and listening but never change because they confuse activity with growth. True learning changes behavior. It shifts how you think, how you speak, and how you act. Knowledge by itself is potential energy. Only applied knowledge becomes power. You can't just consume, you have to implement. The person who reads one book and applies it will outperform the one who reads 100 but practices none. Learning without application is like storing seeds without ever planting them. Potential wasted, harvest delayed. You have to make learning a daily habit. Just as the body needs food, the mind needs wisdom. Feed it with truth, insight, and challenge. The world is evolving too fast for you to stay outdated in your thinking. Every day brings new ideas, technologies, and opportunities, but you'll only recognize them if your mind is open enough to see them. Too many people lose progress because they rely on outdated knowledge. They learned something years ago and stop growing, not realizing that what worked back then won't work now. You can't fight today's battles with yesterday's strategies. Continuous learning keeps you relevant, resourceful, and ready. Learning also requires humility. The moment you start saying, I already know that, you block the door to wisdom. The people who grow the most are the ones who keep their minds open like a student, no matter how much they achieve. The teacher's greatest advantage is not information, it's curiosity. When you approach every conversation, every challenge, every experience as a lesson, you begin to see education everywhere. You start realizing that every person knows something you don't. Every failure hides a message, and every success contains a method. The humble learn faster because they listen longer. But learning isn't always comfortable. Growth stretches you, challenges you, and sometimes exposes what you don't know. Many people avoid learning because it reminds them of their limitations, but that discomfort is exactly where transformation begins. The goal isn't to feel smart, it's to become wiser. The best learners are not afraid of ignorance, they're afraid of staying ignorant. Every time you learn something new, you're expanding your capacity for more. Learning is not about perfection, it's about progression. Each new insight adds a layer to your identity, a tool to your arsenal, and a level to your potential. You also have to learn from life, not just from books. Experience is the best teacher when you're willing to reflect. Most people repeat the same mistakes because they never analyze them. Learning from life means paying attention to patterns, what keeps happening, what works, what fails, what drains you, what fulfills you. Wisdom is hidden in repetition. The universe will keep sending you the same lesson until you learn it. Every disappointment, every delay, every detour carries data. When you extract the lesson, you elevate your next move. When you ignore it, you repeat the same cycle in a different setting. Learning also happens through people. The right mentor can save you years of trial and error. You don't need to learn every lesson through pain when you can learn through proximity. Get around people who are smarter, sharper, and stronger in areas you want to grow. Their conversations will stretch your perspective. Their habits will challenge your excuses. Their results will remind you of what's possible. The fastest way to upgrade your life is to upgrade your circle. If everyone around you thinks the same way, you're no longer growing, you're recycling. Learning requires discipline because curiosity without consistency leads nowhere. You have to schedule your learning like you schedule work. Read a chapter, listen to an audio book, study a skill, attend a seminar, do it daily. Your brain rewires through repetition. What you feed it repeatedly becomes instinct. When you learn consistently, your confidence increases because knowledge eliminates uncertainty. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. Learning builds stability because it turns confusion into clarity and chaos into strategy. The most powerful learners are those who teach what they learn. When you share knowledge, you reinforce understanding. Teaching forces you to internalize the lesson deeply enough to explain it clearly. It multiplies value because one lesson can impact many lives. You don't need a platform to teach. Start by sharing insights with your team, your family, your community. Every time you pass wisdom forward, you become a conduit for growth, not just a consumer of information. You have to remember that success is a moving target. What got you here won't get you there. The person you are today is built on yesterday's lessons, but the person you're becoming will require tomorrow's wisdom. Keep learning until learning becomes who you are. Stay curious enough to keep exploring, humble enough to keep improving, and bold enough to keep applying. Every breakthrough you desire is waiting behind something you haven't yet learned. Gratitude is one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can ever master because it transforms how you see everything you experience. The world doesn't change first, your perspective does. Gratitude rewires your mind from scarcity to abundance, from frustration to fulfillment, from comparison to contentment. When you train yourself to notice what's right instead of what's missing, you start creating more of what's right. Most people are stuck not because life is unfair, but because their focus is untrained. The ungrateful mind looks for problems. The grateful mind looks for possibilities. What you focus on expands, and gratitude focuses you on growth. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you. It's a discipline of awareness. It's the daily decision to see blessings even when they're buried under burdens. Life won't always hand you comfort, but it will always hand you lessons. The question is, are you grateful enough to recognize them? The person who can find gratitude in difficulty holds a kind of power that no circumstance can take away. When gratitude becomes your lens, everything becomes valuable. Every setback becomes training. Every challenge becomes character. Every delay becomes divine timing. Gratitude makes you unstoppable because it teaches you to extract gold even from the mud. A grateful mindset doesn't mean denying reality. It means redefining it. You might be going through something painful, uncertain, or unfair, but gratitude reminds you that you've survived before, learned before, and grown before. It anchors you in stability while everything else shifts. You can't always control your situation, but you can always control your perception. Gratitude turns moments of chaos into moments of clarity because it repositions your attention from why me to what for. When you stop complaining and start appreciating, your energy changes, your creativity increases, and your peace multiplies. You have to understand that gratitude and growth are connected. The ungrateful heart cannot grow because it's always looking backward, resenting what didn't happen, or envying what others have. Gratitude frees you from that prison. It makes you present enough to learn from now and hopeful enough to believe in what's next. Gratitude doesn't ignore ambition, it amplifies it. You can be deeply thankful for what you have while fiercely pursuing what you desire. Gratitude keeps your pursuit pure because it replaces entitlement with empowerment. Instead of saying, I deserve more, you begin to say, I'm thankful for this and I'm ready for the next. That shift changes everything. Gratitude also changes your relationships. When you appreciate people instead of criticizing them, they respond with more trust, loyalty, and energy. Everyone wants to feel seen and valued, and gratitude is how you communicate that. A grateful leader multiplies motivation. A grateful friend deepens connection. A grateful spouse strengthens unity. Gratitude softens pride and builds bridges. The people who live with constant complaints repel opportunities, but those who live with gratitude attract them. Energy doesn't lie. When you're thankful, you radiate something that draws goodness back to you. Gratitude also changes how you view success. Without gratitude, achievement becomes empty. You can have wealth but no joy, status but no peace, progress but no fulfillment. Gratitude keeps success from consuming you because it roots you in appreciation instead of accumulation. It reminds you that every win is a gift, every door is grace, every moment is borrowed time. Gratitude turns success into service because when you realize how much you've been given, your heart naturally wants to give more. It transforms ambition into contribution, and that's where legacy begins. Practicing gratitude isn't complicated, but it does require consistency. You have to train your mind daily to notice blessings, not just chase them. Start with the simple things. The breath you're taking, the food you eat, the opportunities you still have. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every morning or every night. It sounds simple, but it reprograms your brain to recognize abundance. When your thoughts start to spiral into negativity, pause and name what's still good. Gratitude interrupts anxiety because it shifts your attention from what's missing to what's meaningful. It teaches your mind to find light even in darkness. Gratitude also multiplies when expressed. Don't just feel it, say it. Tell people you appreciate them. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge progress. Speak thankfulness out loud because what you verbalize, you reinforce. Every time you express gratitude, you strengthen it in your spirit. You can't complain and be grateful at the same time. The two frequencies can't coexist. Gratitude raises your vibration. Complaining lowers it. That's why grateful people often feel lighter. They've chosen to release the weight of resentment. There's also a spiritual dimension to gratitude. When you're thankful, you open yourself to receive more. It's a universal law. What you appreciate appreciates. When you recognize blessings, you attract more of them. Gratitude aligns you with abundance because it tells the universe, I see what's good and I'm ready for more. But when you focus on lack, you reinforce limitation. The grateful heart becomes magnetic for favor, opportunities, and peace because it vibrates at the frequency of abundance. Gratitude is the foundation of joy, resilience, and mental strength. It gives you the emotional stability to thrive through uncertainty. When you live from gratitude, you stop waiting for happiness and start creating it. You stop depending on outcomes to feel good because your fulfillment no longer comes from what happens. It comes from how you see what happens. Gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you think. And when you change how you think, you change everything that follows.